Hello everyone, this is Robin. I'm your licensed Shakuhachi instructor, and I want to talk today a little bit about how we as Shakuhachi players can keep our bodies healthy. Because like any physical activity and playing any instrument in particular, playing the Shakuhachi can really take a toll on your body because you are just continually in a certain position that is not exactly natural to the human body. And it does put some strain on certain areas of the body continuously. And if you're not careful and mindful about your playing and how your body feels and how you're taking care of your body, this can actually lead to injury. So when we're playing Shakuhachi, we're always in this kind of position, right? And the area that tends to be the most problematic, where people experience most of the pain, is usually the right wrist and also by extension the right shoulder. That is if you are right-handed and your right hand is in front. If your left hand is in front, then of course it's going to be the other way around. And that's because this hand just holds most of the weight of the flute, while at the same time being offset from the center. So that puts it in an awkward position to be supporting all of that weight. And we all know that shakuhachis, especially if they're good ones, like with thick, dense bamboo, can get pretty heavy. So it's not unusual that if you play for a long time, you start experiencing pain in the wrist, or even the shoulder, or even in the back, sometimes also in the jaw, but that's another topic. And that is because we are in this position and we build up tension in certain joints and certain muscles. So today I want to share a few exercises that can help you relieve some of that tension. And you can do these exercises within your practice as you're taking breaks, or right afterwards, after your practice, or whenever you're feeling that your wrist or your shoulder or any other part of your body is experiencing some kind of pain, some tension, feels rigid, sometimes even like spasmic or something like that. So before we go into the exercises, just please let me remind you to always take breaks, and every time you finish a piece or you finish an exercise during your practice, take a moment, shake out your hand, circle your shoulder, take some of the strain off your joints, decompress a little bit, just to stay healthy. So the first exercise, this is a very basic one that you've probably seen before, is just a basic palm stretch. And there are two versions of it. The first one, you grab all of your 5 fingers as well as your thumb like this, and then you extend through the middle with the elbow pit facing up and just pull down. And there's another version, and I got this one from Akihisa Kominato actually, where you grab each individual finger like so and stretch it. So you go from the thumb, then you grab your index finger, stretch it, then you grab your middle finger and so on. And you're going to notice that grabbing the individual fingers is actually adding a whole nother layer of intensity to the stretch. Much more importantly than this one actually though, in my opinion, is doing the other way. Because remember, when we're playing shakuhachi, our hands tend to be in this kind of position, so we're in this kind of flexion, and we want to counteract that by lengthening all of the muscles which are contracting in pulling the hand into this position. So just like before, I'm going to extend my arm, pull on my hand, and then I'm going to slightly rotate my arm from the shoulder. So even if as I hold my hand fixed here, I can still rotate my arm from the shoulder joint, and that's going to have an effect on the stretch. So I want to rotate my shoulder joint here and just see where the stretch is most intense, and then just stay there. And maybe hold that for 10 breaths, 30 seconds or a minute, and then do the other hand. So that's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is a classic from yoga, and it's called the eagle posture. I'm going to do it with the right arm on top, because the right arm is the one that's under more strain. So we're going to cross our arms, and then we're going to wrap our forearms around each other, pushing the hands of the left hand into the palm of the right hand, like so. So we're just basically wrapping our arms into each other. And then what we're going to do is we want to push the elbows up. So we're trying to lift this whole thing up, and then we want to try to open the forearms to the front, like so. And this can give you a pretty intense stretch through the outside of the shoulder and even all the way to the shoulder blades and into the upper back. And same thing, hold for 30 seconds or a minute and then change the side. Number 3 is a really nice one when you've been playing for a long time and you feel like your wrist is really stiff and aching, and you just want to take some of the pressure off. So what you do is quite simply, you grab the base of your palm right here at the base of the thumb, and then you just gently pull on your wrist, like so, and then you start wiggling your arm again, like in the exercise, in the other exercise. So as you pull, you just slightly wiggle your arm around. And this should give you a very nice sense of decompression, and it should just sort of give you a little bit more space in the joint and just counteract all of the tension that's going on in there. Number 4, and this is really nice not only for the entire arm but also for the shoulder. And remember, since we're holding the flute like with our hands, but this arm still needs to be attached to the torso, and to stabilize the arm and keep it from breaking off, our shoulder and our upper back here have to be working. So you can actually build up a lot of tension up here as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to tilt our head to the side, keeping the head just perfectly sideways as we can. And then with this hand, I'm going to flex my hand like so, bring it right to the side and down. And with my head in this position, I'm going to slightly raise up or slowly raise up my hand until I start feeling a stretch. And this is kind of a stretch that feels a bit weird. It kind of goes all the way from the palm into your shoulder. And it's the kind of stretch that makes you go, what the hell, this is kind of disgusting. And once you've found the place where you feel the stretch most intensely, you can start moving your hand in the horizontal plane and see if there's any place where the stretch gets even more intense. And just as a bonus, another cool variation of the first stretch that we did is actually to take your hand sideways, put it on a wall like so, and then to turn away from the wall with your upper body. And you're going to find that that stretch is actually a much more intense version of this one. And for a 5th and final stretch, I would like to counteract a little bit of the internal rotation that we have in the arm. And especially we Thai-Ryu players who like to keep the elbows up. While if bringing the elbow up involves an internal rotation of the shoulder. So the internal rotators, if we are good, Shakuhachi players and we always keep our posture, the internal rotators of the shoulder are gonna be under strain. They have to be working, so they're going to build up tension over time, and we want to counteract that a little bit. So in order to do that, we want to bring our arm into external rotation so that we stretch these rotator muscles. And this stretch is a little more complicated, but I'll show you. So you go into a basically half kneeling, half crouching position like so. And then I'm going to take my arm and put my palm here on my calf so that my elbow is somewhere resting here on my belly. And I'm going to place my left hand underneath my elbow just to add a little bit of extra leverage. So my forearm should be about parallel to the floor like this. And this basically brings me into a position where my shoulder is very much in external rotation. And you want to be very careful with this stretch because you're stretching muscles which are part of the rotator cuff. And the rotator cuff really needs to be stable in order to keep our joints safe. So if you've ever dislocated a shoulder, or if you have other problems with your rotator cuff, be very careful about this one and maybe consult with your physiotherapist first. But now what we're going to do, in order to not just make our stretch our rotator cuff, but also to strengthen it, we're going to push our palm into our calf as much as we can. And this is kind of intense. And that trains our muscles, strengthens our muscles, our internal rotators, in the end range, which is actually the most effective way to train flexibility. Those were my 5 exercises for you. I hope you find these ones helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if these exercises work for you, or if you have any further questions. And if you have some exercises that you like to do before or after Shakuhachi practice to keep your body healthy, then please also share those in the comments. I'd love to read about them. And I'll see you in the next video. Keep enjoying your Shakuhachi. Practice hard and practice safe.